Modern World Cups are billion-dollar operations, managed with surgical precision across climate-controlled stadiums. But the inaugural event in 1930 was an experiment in survival, held together by sheer persistence and a series of desperate improvisations. We are talking about 15-day transatlantic boat rides, July matches played in sudden snowstorms, and referees who only agreed to officiate if a getaway boat was fueled and waiting at the harbor before kickoff. The origin of this madness dates back to May 1928. FIFA recognized that amateur Olympic football was no longer sufficient for the sport's growing popularity, and they voted to create a standalone professional world championship. They awarded the hosting rights to Uruguay. The national team had just won consecutive Olympic titles in 1924 and 1928, and the country was eager to anchor its centennial constitutional celebration with a global event. The timing, however, was disastrous. The Great Depression was suffocating the global economy, and for any European team, reaching South America meant absorbing the massive cost and weeks of lost wages required for a transatlantic ocean voyage. By the official February entry deadline, exactly 0 European nations had accepted the invitation. 2 months out from the first match, the tournament was entirely localized to the Americas and facing imminent cancellation. Between the total absence of global aviation and a worldwide economic collapse, the 1930 World Cup was an impossible logistical gamble that nearly failed before the first ball was kicked. To prevent a total collapse, FIFA President Jules Rimet personally intervened. Relying on political favors and personal appeals, he convinced 4 European teams, Belgium, France, Romania, and Yugoslavia, to commit to the journey. 3 of those squads, along with the designated European referees and the physical gold trophy itself, all squeezed onto a single ocean liner, the SS Conte Verde, for the weeks-long trip across the Atlantic. Without access to training facilities, these elite athletes spent 15 days at sea doing basic conditioning exercises and calisthenics on the ship's wooden decks. When they finally docked in Montevideo, their primary venue wasn't even ready. Heavy winter rains had stalled construction on the 90,000-seat Estadio Centenario, forcing early matches onto smaller club pitches. The tournament began anyway. On a muddy field at Estadio Pocitos, France's Lucien Laurent volleyed in a cross against Mexico to score the first goal in World Cup history. The competition immediately produced unexpected results. The United States fielded a highly physical team that the French press nicknamed the shot putters. Their aggressive style worked, carrying the Americans all the way to a third-place finish. There was no polished infrastructure to rely on. The tournament survived its opening weeks through constant improvisation and the raw athletic drive of travel-weary teams. The final match pitted the hosts against their neighbors, Uruguay versus Argentina, a high-stakes grudge match between the 2 most dominant teams in South America. Across the river in Buenos Aires, an estimated 15,000 Argentine fans flooded the docks attempting to cross to Montevideo. The surge overwhelmed local authorities, leaving thousands stranded at the port while the match began. Inside the stadium, the atmosphere was volatile. Referee John Langenus only agreed to take the pitch after receiving a guarantee that a boat would be fueled and waiting at the harbor to facilitate a quick escape if the crowd turned violent. The chaos even extended to the equipment. Both teams brought their own domestically produced footballs, and neither captain would agree to use the other's ball for the match. FIFA officials eventually brokered a compromise. This diagram shows the arrangement. Argentina's 12-panel ball was used for the first half, and Uruguay's preferred design was swapped in for the second. The equipment changes shaped the scoreline. Argentina led 2-1 at halftime playing with their own ball, but Uruguay stormed back in the second half with their preferred equipment, scoring 3 goals to win 4-2. The unpolished energy of this match provided the first evidence that international football could generate a level of public obsession that transcended the logistical failures on the pitch. The aftermath reflected that intensity. While Uruguay declared a national holiday to celebrate the win, a mob in Buenos Aires responded by stoning the Uruguayan consulate. By modern standards, the 1930 tournament was missing almost everything: global qualifying rounds, professional security, and a predictable schedule. Despite those massive flaws, the event proved that a multi-continent championship was a viable reality. FIFA successfully hosted 13 nations during a global depression and drew over 500,000 spectators. The gold prize awarded that day became the physical symbol of a desperate, successful gamble that transformed a chaotic experiment into a permanent fixture of global sport. The inaugural World Cup was a mess of improvisation and near misses, but by drawing 13 nations across an ocean during a global depression, FIFA established that the demand for a world champion was strong enough to endure even the worst possible circumstances.